I'm here with Mary Hettmansperger from Rings and Things, and we're talking about metal today, and you always bring just the most wonderful projects to work on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So we have some examples here. We're actually looking at some of the different metal works that you do, especially with kind of the stitch metal.
Right. I come from a fiber background, so it's real common for me, or just almost second nature for me to do stitched work. And I like the idea of connecting metal in alternative ways.
And you never really think of stitching with metal.
Not normally, not normally.
That's what's good about you, Mary. So what are some of the things that you're working with?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take copper, actually, and this is like a 24 gauge copper, and it's very easy to work with. And I like it because it's very, it's very flexible once you anneal it.
And I love that you have all your tools and everything
here
with you.
So I'm first going to cut the copper, actually. And I sort of have a decision to make. I can decide whether I want to do something where I'm just going to stitch two pieces together, or I can actually stitch two pieces together that maybe will have cut out of the center, have a focal point, maybe a bead put in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these great shears. I like to use saws, but I really like the shears for this type of work. It seems like it goes fast, it's easy, it makes a nice edge.
My goodness, it cuts right through that like
It
paper.
cuts right through it. You got to be careful of the parts you cut off, But for the most part, it's pretty nice edge. But what we're going to do, what I do next, is I actually take this and I anneal it in like a propane torch or in a settling torch. And what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to actually do it, but I'm going to kind of give you an idea of what I do. I take the copper and I go up here into the torch, and I hold it about an inch up on the edge of the torch.
Okay.
And what that does is it gets the metal really hot.
Right.
And then it becomes a lot more flexible.
And does it change the color as well?
It does. It does. If you actually put it in cold water, it'll create this red. It's like a cold water patina. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
And at this point now it's very easy to handle. So what I do with it next is I'm actually going to take those edges and make them sort of deckled. And the way I do that is I just take my hammer and I pull as I hammer. And what that sort of does is soften that edge.
Right.
And you can also texture. The hammers are nice because you can texture the ball ping part, and you can get different looks. If you if you hammer it this way, you're going to get one look, and if you hammer it this way, you're going to get another look. You can also use stamps, use letters.
So lots of different options that you can do
options,
from a decorative standpoint.
Exactly. And once you do that, like I just said, if I'm going to make this, then I'm also going to take wire and do the same thing. I'm going to pound the edge.
And then it just comes out looking like the one you have in your hand.
It's going to become a paddle, which is real nice.
Okay.
Now, the other thing is, if you want to create a ball, you're going to take and hold the wire, again, about an inch up in the torch. And what's going to happen is it's going to molten that end, and it's going to ball up
almost
on
like
you.
glass.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. So once you get that all sort of set up,
let's move on.
Let's move on. At that point now you have your piece, and this is what I have set up now. I have a really nice, I actually put letters in this one. You need to poke the holes where you're going to be connecting. So on this one here, I've got where I have a lot of holes down the center, and then on this smaller one here that I'm going to be working on, I have just the connections on the two places where the metal.
So you decide, obviously, when you design what you want to do with it.
Exactly. So this is my focal on this piece here. This is sort of my focal point.
So what do you use to poke the holes, first of all?
You're going to use this, which is really nice. This you just take and you screw it down into the metal, and it just pokes it right through. So it's very nice. And this is a piece of a length, probably about 5 feet actually, of 24 gauge copper wire. And I've also burnt a ball on the end of this one. Done this one already.
Saw that one,
yeah, little bitty ball there. So what that's going to do is when I start the stitching, it's going to hold, and I'll gather this up here, and I can decide whether
almost like putting a knot at the end of a thread.
Exactly, and I can decide whether I want actually the ball to be on the front or the back. It can be used sort of as a decorative thing. Now you can see I've slipped this right into this area. Like this.
Perfect.
Yeah, and so
basically now at this point
I'm
you're
going to start to stitch.
Just stitching like you would with a needle
and
thread.
And the main thing that you want to do is wherever you're making the connection, you want to go ahead and wrap around your copper wire down the center, stitch into the other hole, and then wrap on the copper middle wire
Right.
again till you get the second set of holes.
And you can see this one you did a little more of the stitching
Right,
all the way through
and
there.
this one I'll just kind of show you a little bit how this is done with several paddles, so this is a little bit more involved, but you just basically go back in and out
Gotcha.
and in and out, and then when you get to the holes, you just connect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, it is easy. It really is easy.
Well, I'm going to be right back in just a minute, but let's take a look before we leave at all of the other beautiful things that you brought with you. Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you.